What's going on, everyone? So, the Golden State Warriors and Klay Thompson had quite the disappointing season, right? Klay Thompson clearly isn't the same player that he once was. He's still very good. He still has a lot of value, I think, on the right team in the right situation. Even with the Golden State Warriors, I still think he has a lot of value and could be still a very quality piece for him, especially with him kind of acknowledging and understanding, like, hey, look, I'm not the same player I once was. Need to be okay with a lesser role. You see a lot of guys that were, at the top of the mountain, and that time, it's time to get down, and they just refuse and don't want to accept that they're not who they once were. I mean, even guys like Carmelo Anthony, look at him, right? Carmelo Anthony, he's a guy that it took him basically being out of the league for a couple years before he finally was like, okay, fine, I'll do what you need to do. Goes to Portland, accepts a lesser role, and then he was able to extend his career a couple more years. Another great example is like a guy like Allen Iverson. If Allen Iverson was willing to just kind of accept a lesser role or even like a bench role, he probably could have played another 3 to 5 years. But he was really, stubborn and believed he still had it. And it's tough to go from, you're one of, if not the best two guards in the entire league. You're winning championships, part of this big three. You're a dynasty, you're Hall of Fame, you're all these things. To like, oh, well, now I'm just basically a role guy, right? And, all NBA players, unless you're LeBron, kind of get to that realization and get to that point. And now there's a lot of talks of like, what's going to happen with Golden State, Klay Thompson, right? He's willing to take, based on reports, less money, but he still wants a significant payday. He doesn't want to take, a vet minimum or $10 million a year or anything like that. Like, he still wants kind of a longevity, something 4 years, $100 million, somewhere in that ballpark, or 4 years, $80 million. And it just doesn't really make a ton of sense for the Golden State Warriors to kind of pay him a ton of money and kind of be in this purgatory that they're in, where they're not contending for championships anymore. They're kind of just hovering around while Steph, Klay, and Draymond kind of ride off into the sunset, and they want to win. They're an organization that still wants to win. So a lot of talk about Klay Thompson departing the Golden State Warriors and potentially going elsewhere. And a lot of people are throwing out Klay Thompson to the Lakers. Now, I want to start this by saying two things. One, if the Lakers realistically have a chance to get Klay Thompson within reason, I think you do it, right? I love Klay Thompson. I think that he still, again, has an excellent and could still be a very valuable player in the right role, in the right position, and around the right people. Klay Thompson makes all the sense in the world. Second thing I want to say before I get into this is I would be very, 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 very shocked if it happened. Nothing is 0%, but I think it's pretty close to 0% that he goes to the Lakers. Personally, I would love it if it happens. Beautiful. But he's not going to take a vet minimum, for one, which might be what all the Lakers have, depending on how things shape up. And two, like, the Lakers are going to, trade a bunch of assets to go get him? I don't think it's realistic. Now, if it comes to something where it's like, okay, Golden State, they're like, we're not going to give you the type of money and contract you're looking for. Let's work something out. Try to see if we can get you somewhere. Where would you like to go? And kind of do right by Klay. You've seen organizations do stuff like that where they're like, hey, what do you want to do? Whatever you want, we'll help you figure it out, right? And it's something where he's like, well, if I'm not going to be here, I'd love to go to the Lakers. I think as much as Golden State would not be happy about that, I think that they would swallow the pride and make it happen out of respect for Klay and what he did for that organization, which Klay does have ties, right, with his father and stuff. And I think, though, one, Golden State would, the Lakers are probably the last place they want to send him to, unless Klay Thompson specifically says, like, hey, if you're not going to sign me to a deal, can we work out some type of, sign and trade or something, right? Can we work something out? And then maybe he does something with the Lakers. Now, again, this is why I think it's very, very unlikely. because he's not going to sign for a vet minimum. There are several teams that I could see bringing him in for reasonable money. Not like Orlando has been linked to Klay Thompson, right? And I think Orlando makes a lot of sense for Klay, and I think Klay makes a lot of sense for Orlando, right? Kind of bring in a veteran. They need shooting. He provides that, but more so his experience, him being kind of that vet. I think a team like Orlando might give him, 4 years, 60 million or something like that. Say, hey, instead of we could give you 20 million this year and you sign a 1-year deal, or we could give you, 4 years, 3 years, whatever. Because even as he's declining, he'd still have value to Orlando, again, as a shooter, but also as a veteran guy, as a guy in that locker room to kind of help with such a young roster. So I think that there would be some of that value in just signing him as a key vet to try to help take Orlando to the next level. I could also see a team like the Sixers maybe throwing him a contract for, $15 million a year or something like that, where it's not too much, but it's reasonable, right? So that's the problem, is that I think from a money standpoint, I don't think he has a home with the Lakers. From a trade standpoint, again, unless he's just nah, I only want to go to the Lakers, send me to the Lakers, that's it. If I can't re-sign with you, then I think that they may work something out. But again, what is that cost going to be? Is it just kind of something where it's we'll take D'Lo, we'll swap D'Lo for Klay, throw us a second or 2 seconds or something like that, so we feel like we won, and it's just some helpful thing. Again, I don't see that happening. I want to be very clear. But if the Lakers were to land Klay Thompson, right? Let's go down this little rabbit hole a little bit. Then I think that he would be huge. Right? His ability to shoot the basketball still and just go off at any second, at any moment, for any reason at all, and to play alongside LeBron James and Anthony. I mean, Klay Thompson, even today, even this version of Klay Thompson, would still be the best fit. There's very few guys in the league that would be as good, if not better, fits than Klay Thompson, right? Playing alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis and all the attention that they command. I mean, Klay Thompson might get looks that he's never gotten in his career, even when he played with Steph and Durant. He'd be getting just wide open looks at times. And the way that LeBron could just create for him, and so, I mean, you might see a very different Klay. Because the problem is Klay's he can't do a lot of the things that he used to be able to do. He can't do a lot of the self-creation that he used to be able to do. But he's still always and constantly a threat on that basketball court. And, to have a guy like LeBron and Anthony Davis on that basketball court that can both make plays out of the post and, run some driving kicks, or just, collapse the defense and kick out to a Klay Thompson, where Klay basically doesn't have to do anything. He's just kind of shuffling outside on the perimeter the whole game and just waiting for one of these two guys to set him up and get him a good look and then just drill it. I mean, that's a match made in heaven for Klay and for the Lakers, in my opinion, because I think that they would both be mutually beneficial, right? And I do think you'd see maybe a slightly more efficient Klay than what he was last year. Again, he wasn't terrible, but he wasn't the Klay that we're used to seeing. Now, I know some people might think he's terrible after his last performance because, you are what you last did, and recency bias and stuff like that kind of play a part, especially in the sports narrative. But I mean, if you actually watched him this year, again, he wasn't the same guy, but he still was good, and he still had those moments, and he still had that looming threat where on any moment at any given time, that guy could just go off and drop 50, or 30 or 40, whatever, right? And I just think to have him alongside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, I think would do wonders for Klay. I think it'd do wonders for the Lakers. But there would just be so much that would have to go into something like that I don't necessarily think that happens. I think realistically, he ends up going to a team like an Orlando or something like that. Maybe one of these young teams that are looking, or he stays with the Warriors. I could see the Warriors, giving him, maybe 3 years, $60 million or something like that, or 2 years, $50 million with like a team option next year or something. And it's like, I will kind of overpay you for the year, see how it goes, especially if there's nothing like better to work out or figure out. But it's just Klay's in that awkward spot because he's still good. And like I said, in the right situation, around the right team, I think he could be a real problem in like the good sense, right? Like, but I think there's very few teams in which he can be that significant player, right? And I think, like, you look at a team like the Lakers. The Lakers are, I believe, one of those teams that they just have that guy that can create and draw so much attention. Like Klay, if he's basically your fifth best player or whatever, or your fifth option on a team, right? Then, like, yeah, like that's a home run to me, right? Like, but again, he's not taking a vet minimum deal. More likely, maybe the Lakers have the taxpayer mid-level, and like hard cap, like is he? And even then, is he going to take that? It's like $5 million, $6 million, whatever. He's still good enough to where he's probably going to get 15 to 18 million from somebody. And the Lakers just don't have the money to do that. And then to work out some type of trade, again, it's like, what did that cost? What would it take? And there's probably bigger pressing needs that the Lakers have than Klay Thompson. Like, to me, it's like if the Lakers were, like, say the Lakers had a perfect team, right? It's like everything was worked out. Like, yeah, let's say, I don't know, let's say you had like D'Lo, Caruso, whoever, right? Like Jeremy Grant, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. And it's like, man, we got the team that's ready to go. But man, D'Lo wants out. He's probably going to go elsewhere. Like, can we work out some deal? And it's like, if you already had the team and you already had the pieces, and it's like, we have a chance to add Klay, then like, cool. Then you add Klay, right? And then you kind of work out whatever you need to work out. But to me, it's like the Lakers have so many pressing needs, in my opinion, that they need to figure out this offseason, that I think Klay's kind of the last thing that I think that they need and should be focused on trying to get. But those are my thoughts and opinions. And as always, I pass a question on to you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of Klay? Do you think, stay away from Klay Thompson? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.